Good evening, Knicks fans. Please welcome our host for this evening and newest member of the Knicks family, Emmy Award winner and broadcasting legend, Ahmad Rashad.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This is, it is such a pleasure for me to be here tonight, and I'd like to welcome all you to this very famous arena. It's the 75th anniversary season. It's opening night presented by Chase. Now, I have been a Knicks fan for so long. I lived in New York for 30 years and went to every single game I could. And they had this thing that they used to do that I haven't found anywhere else. First of all, they have the most knowledgeable fans in any sport, any place in the country. But they had this chant that it was so good that maybe in the last year or something, my wife woke me up and she said, "What were you saying in your sleep? You were like having a dream." And I was chanting, "Go New York, go New York, go." That's the coolest thing I've ever heard. But I'd like to get this started here tonight. Can we do a little bit of that? Go New York, go New York, go. Go New York, go New York, go. Go New York, go New York. God, I love that. Give yourself a hand for that, huh? So tonight is really cool. I got a bunch of guys, legendary guys that are here that played in the past. They're all going to come out. We're going to have a little roundtable discussion and hope you guys enjoy that. And I'm sure that at each one that comes out, you remember something special that they did. They're all legendary and all wonderful people. And let me start with this young man. Joined the Knicks in 1971, was part of what was affectionately known as the Rolls-Royce backcourt alongside Clyde Frazier. He helped lead the Knicks to a championship in 1973. He is a four-time All-Star. He was an All-NBA first-teamer, the 1968 Rookie of the Year, and his jersey hangs from the rafters in the world's most famous arena. In 1990, he was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Earl, the Pearl Monroe.
Help me up, Holmes.
I got you. I got you. You sit right there.
Okay.
Earl and I go way, way back. Way, way back. We used to play tennis with each other all the time, beat each other up on the tennis court for years and years and years. The next legend is a Hall of Famer, a Fort Greene native who fulfilled every New Yorker's dream playing with the Knicks. He was a four-time All-Star, four-time All-NBA, and the NBA scoring champion in 1985. He has the best plus-minus in Knicks history and famously scored 50 points in consecutive games during the '84 season. He still holds the record for the most points scored on Christmas Day, Bernard King. Mr. King, Mr. King. Yes, sir, brother. Next up, this legend signed with the Knicks in 1990. He was their starting shooting guard for 8 seasons. He was an All-Star in '94, All-Defense in '93, and the Sixth Man of the Year in '97. He is the all-time leading three-point shooter in Knicks history. His toughness defined the physical play of the '90s Knicks. John Starks. Mr. Starks. Gentlemen. Next up, this legend was the 24th overall pick in the 1992 NBA draft. He was traded to the Knicks before the 1999 season. It was instrumental in their historic run to the finals. During those finals, he averaged 26 points per game. He's a 4-time NBA All-Star, including his 2001 selection as a Knick, an All-NBA first-teamer, All-Defense, and famous for his emphatic dunks that electrified the Garden, Latrell Sprewell. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Good. So this is kind of cool to have these dudes around, huh? Just sitting around talking, don't you think? You all just sitting in. So, Earl, let me ask you something. So when I grew up, the Knicks were just such a great place to watch the game. It was a great team. It was so, you dreamed about it. If you ever wanted to play a professional sport, you'd want to play for the New York Knicks. How was it for you when you first got here?
Well, it wasn't a dream come true.
But it was a real dream in real life watching you.
No, well, you're so kind. Coming from Baltimore, the Knicks were kind of like our enemy. Mm-hmm. And so, my first day here was like, wow, I'm here. What's going to happen? But once I got out, he came out, they introduced me to the crowd, and the crowd went off and so forth. I understood why, this was the greatest place in the world to play. And, I've been here since then, so, it's indicative of what it was like.
It did work out.
No doubt.
So, John, for you, though, now, I always think about this. Now, here, they keep telling me this story about you went from bagging groceries to a star of the New York Knicks.
No, not that quick.
Yeah, but that was a journey. That was part of that journey.
That was part of my journey. Yes, I was in between colleges, say the least. But I went from bagging groceries to playing in junior college, becoming a junior college All-American. Then Leonard Hamilton, who's the coach at Florida State, gave me the opportunity to come in and play for Oklahoma State for 1 year. I only had 1 year of eligibility left. And so I jumped on it. And from there, Larry Brown, I have to really thank him.
So, but growing up though, you had to admire the Knicks organization. I mean, if you're going to play professional sports or professional basketball, what better place to play than here?
Oh, no question. But I was a Philadelphia Sixer fan, actually.
Oh my gosh!
I was a Dr. J fan. Doc was my guy now.
Yeah, that's respect.
Yeah,
that's respect.
But you love back then, either New York, Philadelphia, L.A., or Boston. Because we only had 3 stations at the time. So either one of those 4 teams was playing against somebody. And I can remember Philadelphia coming to the Garden, and you could just feel it through the television, the electric atmosphere that was happening here in New York. And I can remember when I did get to the pros and I was playing for Golden State, I was so excited coming here to New York and seeing the big buildings and all of that. Times Square was totally different. Times Square was something I'm not sure what it was. A lot nicer now. But I can remember I'm going to get a chance to run up and down the court and play here on Madison Square Garden, because that's what everybody dream about, playing here in the Garden, because New York obviously is the mecca of basketball. And so when I first got that opportunity, I warmed up and I sat and watched the game like everybody else. I didn't get to touch the floor outside of a warm-up, man. I was like, wow. You can imagine how I was. I was very disappointed. But when I got an opportunity to come here and try out with the great late Dick McGuire saw me playing in the World Basketball League. And it was a 6'5" and under league, up and down pace, kind of like it is now. Mm-hmm. And he liked what he saw and brought me in. And I'm like, wow, I get a chance to truly, truly come play at Madison Square Garden. It was special.
You know, it was a special thing. You know, do you remember that time you were playing against the Chicago Bulls and you drove to the basket, went around and dunked the ball? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Watch what you did afterwards. Okay, there's the dunk. You gave somebody a high five. Oh, that's me.
That's the last.
So, Bernard, now, here we're talking. Now, see, homegrown.
Yeah, absolutely, Brooklyn.
So now, go ahead. Do it. So it had to be, was it a dream come true for you to play for the Knicks, having grown up in Brooklyn?
Oh, without a doubt. Every day that I went to the playground with my friends to play basketball, we always tried to emulate one of the players on the Knicks. I couldn't be you, Earl. You had those spin moves. But we always tried to emulate one of the Knicks players. And so for me, growing up as a kid, I dreamed of playing for this franchise. So if you can imagine what it's like every night to go out and put on that uniform of the Knicks, and you have your parents there, you have your friends, and it's just the most special feeling in the world to represent the city and represent the franchise and these fans. It was a great thing, and I loved it.
I've always felt like New York is one of these places where it can either make you or it can break you, because the fans are so intelligent about the play of basketball. They know if you're for real or not. So I would think that it could either inspire you every night to come out and play, or If it doesn't inspire you, then you probably booed and run right out of here. That's kind of the way that goes. And if you're a star in the NBA, if you ain't a star in New York, you ain't a real star. If you don't show up in Madison Square Garden and show them that you are a star, you're not a legitimate star.
Well, every night I took that floor, I felt that I represented the history of the Knicks, the history of the franchise. Earl Monroe, Walt Frazier, Willis Reed, Dave DeBusschere. And that's what I represented every night I put on that uniform. And when I stepped on that court, I wanted to deliver the best that I've ever played the game during the course of my career. And that's the level and standard I set for myself while I was here in New York playing for the Knicks. And I think that I accomplished that fairly well.
I think don't you think you accomplished that fairly well? I remember you would get so ready for the game and be so focused that you wouldn't even say hi. Like, good on.
Well, that's very true.
Gone.
You know, before the game, I had a routine. We all have routines, right, guys? But I had a routine. I would sit in my locker, and my teammates and the coaching staff, they knew not to say a word to me at that point. And I would sit there, Ahmad, and I would close my eyes, and I would visualize, and I would see all the plays developing in my mind's eye, and I would see myself performing successfully every single move, and that's where my game face came from. And so every night I was prepared, and that's why I played consistently during the entire course of my career. I didn't play up and down. And then the big games, as you guys well know, you have to go to another level, and I was capable of doing that. But that's how I prepared for every single game, every single night.
You know, and I just think that you also had an audience that appreciated that.
Yeah.
That's true. You know, here in New York, they understand not only the nuances of the game, but they understand hard work. Mm-hmm. And that's what I brought, my lunch bucket every single day to the arena. And, you know, it was hard work, and that's what I did every single night.
Latrell, tell me about when you first got here. Was it kind of because it had to be different. I mean, playing in New York is not like playing in
Anywhere.
Anywhere. But as a professional athlete, I'd much rather play here than anywhere. I want people to bring the best out in me.
Well, for me, it was a lot of pressure, especially coming from Golden State and everything that happened to me out there out west. And I wanted to come here, though. I think I told Patrick the year Allen and myself and I believe it was Reggie Miller, we were all up for contract. And the Knicks, I think I told John this story, the Knicks never gave me a look. And I saw Patrick the next time we played the Knicks, and I'm like, dude, they didn't even look at me. I was like, I wanted to come to New York so bad. They didn't show me any interest. So I think Patrick went back and told management that. So when the whole thing happened at Golden State and there was an opportunity to grab me, they sent a bunch of guys out to my house in Milwaukee and sat down with me and kind of picked my brain, trying to see where my mind was at. And I think they left there knowing that I wanted to be a part of the Knicks organization. So, but actually when I got here, just landing and seeing New York and being in Manhattan, seeing all the buildings and all the people, it's like, okay, you wanted this, so you got to deliver now. So, I mean, it was a ton of pressure, and I just remember that first preseason game. I didn't have a good first half. I think I made my first shot, but then I missed a few shots and didn't really play well in the second half. I mean, I was just on fire, and I just remember the Garden going crazy. And I think I had 25 points in the second half or something. Jeff took me out of the game, and I got a standing ovation. I was like, yeah, this is home for me. This is where I belong.
Yeah.
I would just think those experiences, and Earl, those experiences like that here, they just can't be. It's not any place. Wherever else you played in this league was not like playing here.
No, back in those days when I played, it was different because we were a part of the community.
Yeah.
We didn't live outside the communities. We were in the communities and whatnot. So I used to take the train to the games, and you talk about Rolls Royce backcourt. I took the train to the game.
Glad in the road.
And and was able to talk to people, see people, and be involved in the whole community aspect of it. So that when you got to the game here, you played the game, you're back on it, and it's like a real community that I was involved in. And I was the same way when I went to college. I involved myself, in Winston-Salem, same thing in Baltimore. But this, because it's so expansive, this was just unbelievable. I remember driving in here the night that I was going to sign with the Knicks, and I stopped on 11th Avenue. And so I parked, stop at the light, and I look over at the car, and beside me, it's a police car. And I'm looking, and I'm saying, okay. Then I see two legs going up in the back of the police car. And so I'm saying, oh, what's that? So when the light turned green, I said, I think I'm gonna like you here.
PG, baby.
So, I want to know why is this the best place to play winning basketball? Why is that?
The fans, for
Yeah.
me, it's a no-brainer. Just the energy in the building. When you're
Every
out
night.
there, every night. I mean, celebrities on the front row. I mean, it's no place like it. And I think everybody in the NBA knows that. That's why you got guys that come on the road and play here. They want to do their best. They want to, show off at the Garden because they know that this is the mecca of basketball.
Yeah, I have to agree with Spree. It's like no matter what the team record is, when they come in here, their game going to elevate. And because they know they have to come in here and put on a show. And we know that as players, it's like we're going to get their best game every single night when they step inside the Garden.
This is the biggest stage in the world
Yeah.
for basketball.
Yes.
And as these guys echo, the opponents that you play against, you're only going to experience their best when they come in here to Madison Square Garden. But my perspective was, you're not going to embarrass me in my home.
Agreed.
Each one of you tell me what's your most proudest moment as a Knick.
Well, mine personally was when we beat Indiana in Game 7 to get to the finals. Game 6, obviously, we had to win. And I can remember running out on the court, and I talk about this all the time. No one was giving us a chance to even come back to the Garden because we lost a heartbreaker in Game 5. And I can remember running out there on the court, and the first person I saw was Spike Lee, draped in Knicks gear. I like, oh, we got this. We got this. No way we're not going back to New York. And that was special. But when we beat Indiana in Game 7 to get to the finals, the Garden just erupted. Kind of like last year, if you was here in game number 2 against Atlanta, the crowd was crazy, bananas, pouring out in the streets. I'm like, is this the championship?
Yeah. Well, it had been so long.
Yeah, I know it hasn't
It
been
had
so
been
long.
that wasn't
Everybody
around
was
it for a
pent
while.
up too. Everybody was kind of
They couldn't
pent up.
wait.
They couldn't wait, but it was special like that once we beat Indiana.
Earl?
Well, I would like to say that taking that ride down Broadway after winning the championship, that was,
So wait, so that's the only applause he gets for that? That was just like, okay, yes. We're in New York. That's what I'm talking about. My God. Wow.
Well, hey, what you got to think, nobody here was there.
Yeah, man.
She was there.
All right. Yeah.
They saw it on TV.
But that was really chilling. I think Mayor Lindsay was the mayor at that time, and getting just waving at people. I mean, there's a thrill of being a champion that only you can experience if you are a champion, and it's something that you'll never forget.
Latrell?
Well, I mean, I get this question a lot, and I think there's two moments for me. I think it was Allen Houston shot in Miami. No one expected us to be the number 1 seed. We were the 8th seed, and we barely got into the playoff. We didn't really have a good year, but we got on the road towards the end of the season, and that game, it was a tough series. Went down to Game 5, and Allen's shot went in, and we all just hugged each other, ran down the end of the court screaming. So that, and then that same year when we were able to beat Indiana in Game 6, and we knew we were going to the finals, and I just remember holding that Knicks towel over my head and just holding it and running around the Garden, just giving every fan in the front row a high five, and just the energy in the building, like John said. That's one feeling I'll never forget.
For me, there were so many highs
Yes.
playing here in New York and playing in that uniform, the back-to-back 50s, obviously. But what I concentrate on most, is the series against the Detroit Pistons when we played against them in the first round, an Isaiah-led team, and we weren't supposed to beat them. And we took it to the 5th game. And during that 5-game series, I averaged 42 points a game for 5 straight games, which was an NBA record.
That's right. And didn't smile one time.
But I tell you, we were in the huddle in that 5th game, and Hubie Brown, who was the head coach of the Knicks at the time, he's executing a play for my teammate. Now, I love my teammates. All right? But if the game is on the line in the 5th game of a playoff series,
You want the ball.
I want the ball. Okay? And the play wasn't designed for me. And so in the playoffs, it's the first time I ever questioned the coach in my basketball life.
Right.
I said, Hubie, do I have the right to take it myself? And he didn't answer me. And I said it again louder, Hubie, I have the right to take the ball myself. And finally he looks up, Latrell, and he says, yeah, so I'm telling him I'm going to break the play. So we inbound the ball, I wave Bill Cartwright out, and Earl Curitan is defending. I'll never forget this. He said, come on and bring it.
Oh, Lord. Oh, man.
Yeah,
Wrong thing.
Right?
Wrong thing to
I
say.
put the ball between my legs, drove baseline, 2 dribbles, faded. What do you think happened?
Bucket.
Nothing but net. And we won that series.
I have to say this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
One other special moment that I had, actually, it was at the Knicks' expense. But when Bernard came back with the Washington Bullets at the time, I was sitting on the bench that game.
I can't wait to hear the rest of the story.
You know why?
Because you was on the bench.
I was on the bench. So I was sitting on the bench. And I can remember watching him, obviously, during his playing career. But I remember when he was with Fast Break. Was that the movie?
Oh, wow. You
Fast
remember
Break.
that?
Oh, yeah. I remember that movie, right? So I'm sitting on the bench. They say, the king is coming back. The king is coming back. I watch him give us 50. And I'm like, everything just went back to when he was here with the Knicks. I'm like, okay, that's the king.
Hey, but very quickly, you know what I did that day? I called my mom.
Coming off of ACL, matter of fact.
Oh, I know.
my
Coming off
ACL.
ACL.
I called my mom, and I said, Mom, don't be late. I'm getting 40 tonight. And went out and did what you said.
Oh, my gosh.
And we won that game.
Yeah,
I
you
won
did win
that
that
game
game.
that night. And I love you, Knicks fans.
Earl, tell me a little bit about, in my mind, when I think of winning Knicks teams, I don't think of it in terms of like a big 3 or a big 2 or the way they talk now. The teams that have always won here have played as a team. Beautiful basketball, but everybody has been a part of it. Every time they've won championships or the time they've been successful, it's always a team success.
Yes. Well,
Explain yourself. Explain yourself.
Yes.
okay. Well, you could think of it as that, as a team aspect, yes. But when you look at the team, we have 5 or 6 Hall of Famers on that team.
Playing very well together.
Right.
I've seen 4 or 5 Hall of Famers not play well together.
But yeah, but those teams back in those days, they were, first of all, defense dictated, the process. And from the defense, you have great shooters, outside shooters, had inside-outside games. And then at the same time, you also had smart guys who played the game. We had 2 Rhodes Scholars on our team with Bill Bradley and Jerry Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
Plus you had veterans, which is a lot like, this team today.
That's where I was leading to.
This team today, has an infiltration of a lot of veterans, and then you've got the infiltration of some younger guys. to bring it up, who's learning. I mean, this year, Quickly and Toppin and whatnot, 1 year underneath their belt, they're going to be that much better this year. And then you also have the advent of Rose. You got all the wise guys and whatnot, and Julius Randle. You know, I mean, he's established himself. So, you know, it's a lot like those teams back in those days, obviously. But you know, this is a different time and space. But I would hope that everything starts with the defense, and that's what Tibbs does.
Well, you know, the other thing I was going to say about him is Coach Thibodeau is perfect. I think he's perfect in this sort of situation. He gets the best out of everybody, and just to watch these guys play as a group is very inspiring because that's how you win. But it seems to me he's one of those guys that, man, if you can play, you're going to play. You know, and everybody comes in and plays better. You can bring a guy off the bench, the 8th, 9th guy off the bench. It's not like you went down. You just got new energy going in there.
Well, he actually understood his team.
Yes.
And what they needed. And what did he do? He went out and got guys who used to play for him.
Yeah.
He knew what they could do.
Right.
And he knew that they would be a good fit with the team here.
That's fantastic. What do you see some similarities in when you played and what they're playing now?
Well, I think, you know, Earl pointed it out. That the similarities is the fact that they're a great defensive team, and they play very well together as a cohesive unit. And I think because of that, they're going to be very successful this year. They were successful last year.
Yeah.
But they're going to build on that success, and the foundation of all of that is their defense and the way they contribute in that way.
Latrell, you made the all-defensive team. That's so important. And in a winning situation, if you don't have anybody to play defense, you can't win. You can be exciting, but you're not going to win.
Well, I mean, when we played, and John knows this, like, I mean, the games were 75 to 70, 80,
Right.
85.
Right.
You know, now it's 120, 130 points. You know, it's
Hold on, John got to answer.
My bad.
Come on, that's right. Go ahead, answer the phone. Hey, hold up. Go ahead.
That's Patrick, by the way.
No, but like it's just a different time. Like I think John and I had this conversation. It's like, man, I wish we could play in today's game where you can't hand check.
Yeah.
You know, the illegal defense rules are different.
Oh.
The floor is so spread out. Everybody's sitting on the three. So as a guard, you're like, man, no bigs at the basket. You could just attack the basket in the way we did back in the day. I think we would average another 5 to 10 points if we played.
Earl will average 60. If you couldn't touch him. You couldn't touch
Yeah,
him.
the rules are so different in today's game, but I think Tibb, he understands that, and he's always been very defensive-minded. When I played here, Tibb was an assistant, and he handled most of the defensive stuff for us. I mean, Jeff did his thing, but Tibbs was always that guy in your ear on the side, telling you the defensive concepts and making sure you understood what we wanted to do as a team, what your role was on help situations, things like that. And we knew when he got here that the Knicks were going to be better defensively. And last year, I think they were in the top 5 in most of the defensive categories. And that's just in 1 year. So they're obviously going to be better this year.
So you guys all agree that winning is about, you got to play defense to win.
No.
It starts on that end to sort of win. And Tibbs is, as I watch him, I was a football player. Anybody didn't know.
Well, were you?
Yeah. I played football. And I had a really good coach that reminds me of Tibbs. Bud Grant was just like Tibbs. Same kind of guy, same kind of guy. It was up to you to play. And if you didn't play, he didn't have to yell at you. You just cut. You just be off the team. But watching this, do you think this team is a lot like your team in the 90s?
Oh, no question. Yeah, it's kind of built like that. You have the inside guys and Mitch Robinson. Now you have the young kid, Sims. Taj Gibson, you have, where you can get up and pressure because, like Spree say, you can't put your hands on guys, so you have to rely on those guys to protect the rim. And we have like 2 or 3 good shot blockers. Noel,
yeah.
Great shot blocker, and so it allows for you to play aggressive out there on the wings, and so that's the way we was. We had Patrick back there, obviously we had Oak back there taking charges, Mace. All those guys, but we can get up and push up on the offensive player, and I think you still see the similarities in this team. But with this team right here, they can go get it on the offensive end. They can put pressure on you on the offensive end. So they're probably a little bit better offensive team than we was, but defensively, the same mindset. Get up, hit, no layups, none of that.
Taj Gibson, He's from.
Fort Greene.
You got to be proud of that, don't you?
Absolutely. Taj Gibson went to the same elementary school I did in downtown Brooklyn, Fort Greene, PS 67. And in fact, that's why he wears number 67. And so I'm very proud of what he's done during the course of his career. And one of the things that I think he does tremendously well, and you see exhibited every single night, is provide leadership, particularly for this particular young team. And he does a very effective job of that. He's still a very good offensive player, but every night he's sort of the glue, I think, that holds this team together nightly.
I think of all the teams played on, it seems like he's a perfect fit here.
Yeah.
Oh, he certainly is.
In the way this team is built, he's a perfect fit in there.
And he loves being back at home. And
Yeah,
so
I would
no question
imagine.
about it.
When he went to USC, I always went, how did a guy from Brooklyn go to USC? It doesn't even work. I can't even put that together.
Well, he fits right in what Tibbs likes to do. I
Yes.
think that's the biggest thing, and I think that's one of the reasons why Tibbs wanted him on the team, because of what he does defensively, the way he works on the floor, the leadership, like you talked about, Bernard. So it was a great pickup.
So, how many people in there knew that he wore number 67 because he went to that school?
Yeah. See, you have the jersey.
All right.
Well, see, you didn't know you were going to learn something tonight, did you?
No.
Sit around and listen to us talk all this bullshit. You're going to learn some stuff. I didn't know that either. So wait, one of the players is wearing your number.
Yeah, Kimba. What's wrong with that?
Did you know that? Did you know that?
No, I did.
I thought it was Toppin
No.
when he was little.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, I saw that.
I knew I had it somewhere. When he was little, he was wearing your jersey. That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
huh?
it was cool. I saw that when he got drafted, and I didn't know he was a Knicks fan like that. And I didn't even know he was from New York. I saw him play a couple of times in college, and I'm like, God, this guy's just pretty explosive. He's, he's getting up and down and just dunking the ball. I'm like, wow. And then I saw the Knicks picked him up, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember this kid watching him in college. So, and then somebody put it on Instagram that, he had my jersey on as a kid, and it was definitely flattering.
Yeah, I imagine that's got to be kind of cool.
Yeah, it was.
I had your jersey when I was a kid, Earl.
And I had yours.
Yeah, well, that is right. That is right. So tell me about what you guys, this team, this thing reminds you of, we talked about just a minute ago, about the other teams. They got a defensive stance, the whole thing. But I think they have a wonderful chance to really win further than they went last year.
Yeah, I think just that experience of getting to the playoffs for the first time with a lot of these guys, obviously Derek and Taj and a couple of guys been in the playoffs before, but the younger guys, just having that experience, as you know, when you first get there, the nerves set in and you don't know how you're going to respond. And I think coming back this year, they're going to come back like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With a lot of confidence, understanding if we just clean up a couple of things, we can truly make a deep run.
It's one thing that people have to realize, and I think you realize this after the first time you go to the playoffs. It ain't about making the playoffs.
Yeah.
You got to go further than
Yes.
You gotta win.
that. But some people think that, we made the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then what? But I think that's that hunger that gets you
Yeah.
like, we got to go further.
Yeah.
And I think that they'll probably have that sort of attitude this year.
Exactly, and you can see it in the veteran guys last year, Taj, Rose, all those guys. They know how special it is just to get to the playoffs, but they know how special it is to go ahead and go
Compete
further.
for that
you know what I mean?
championship.
And I think with them driving it, I think the young guys are just going to get on board and they're going to get to where they want to get to.
Earl, tell me what you think.
Well, I think that, they were able to establish an identity last year and how they would play. I know during the offseason we talked about getting Lillard, but I think the guys that they got, Kemba and Fournier, is it? I think that, they fit more into the plan of the identity of the team and won't detract from what Julius did last year and what he brings into the game this year. So I feel as though, they can do better. They can go better. The other thing in a nutshell is that everybody else has got better too. So they're going to have to really buck down and try and win. But if you still the fourth, if you go fourth in the East, I mean, you still in good shape. I mean, you still got you got a shot.
You sort of lost that surprise element, though. You ain't surprised nobody. They know that y'all are for real.
Well, they know they're for real because they've been playing in preseason.
Yeah.
If you're doing well in preseason.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on this team?
Well, I think the momentum from the preseason is going to carry over to the regular season. But just as importantly, it typically takes players a year to truly understand the system that they're playing in. And I think as a team, they understand Tibbs' system, and as a result, they'll take that to the next level, and they'll play much better this year than they did last year.
So tell me about, is there any players on the team that remind you of yourself? Each one of you.
We just gave you a pass off.
Well, at last.
Did y'all miss that?
No.
They missed it. Bernard said he just gave him a pass, and he said, at last.
I think for me, probably just the mindset is quickly. You know what I mean? He came into last year, no one knew that he was going to have the type of year that he had, being a rookie coming out of Kentucky. And for him to step up and have the maturity to lead the team when he got out there on the court, and for the guys to respect that in him. And he goes hard. You know what I mean? That was my mentality. Every time I took the floor, kind of like Bernard, but without the game face.
No, you had the game face too. Don't be trying to sneak that in here.
But just have that mentality to go out there and play hard every single night and don't quit on no plays at all. And so that was my mentality. I wanted to lay it out there on the line, give 110%. Whatever happens, happens. And I think that's the mentality that I see in him.
I don't know, man. I was a little different. Like I'm in the camera, I was screaming and I was on the floor and just, playing with such an edge. And it's not a whole lot of guys in the league that play like that in today's game. So, that question is a little difficult for me. I only see like a couple of players like Russell Westbrook that really gets up and down and just plays with so much passion. He's always going 100 miles an hour.
Yes.
And, he gets into the camera, he's looking at the crowd and all that kind of stuff. So, like I said, there's not a lot of guys that play with that kind of energy and passion.
No.
One of a kind. One of a kind.
No one when I look at all the stars I've ever played, no one reminds me of you.
No.
You were just you. There's been nobody that played like you, near you, not even close. Not even close. You're very businesslike by chopping somebody up. Thank you. Be back next night. But your approach to the game, explain that to me, because it was very matter of fact. Matter of fact, and like when you talk about Bernard was so serious, and I couldn't even talk to Bernard. I was like, hey, Bernard, how you doing? He was zoned in. But you seemed to be a little different when you played. And nicer. You'd cut somebody and they didn't know they was bleeding until later. I believe he just cut me.
Yeah, it's called killing me softly.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, it's I developed it. It's just a natural thing. When I was in college, and how can I say this? Well, averaging 40 points a game in college makes you so that nothing really is that bad.
Same basket, same height.
Yeah, hey, no, here's another one. No.
Take that with you.
Right. So that's the mentality I came into the league. I mean, when I first got into the league, I wasn't starting. And I remember, and I know somebody said that they were a Philadelphia fan. Well, I was a Boston Celtic fan
Boo!
Coming from Philly?
Coming from Philly, I was.
You might want to hold that back here. You might
That's
not
why
want
I'm
to
here
say
tonight.
That was a joke.
The truth come
That
out
was a
now.
joke. You know what it was? It was a joke.
Yeah, but everything was kind of laissez-faire and whatnot, and because I knew what I could do, and I always let my guys do what they could do, because I knew in the end I knew where the ball was going to be, so that's kind of how I played the game.
Who did you admire growing up? Did you base your game off of somebody that you watched or you made it up?
Yeah, I kind of
You created it.
trial and error. I mean,
Who do you play for?
Huh? Well, I didn't start playing until I was 14. So when I started playing, I was so bad and whatnot that I used to go home and cry to my mom. And my mom gave me this here notebook. And she said, well, all those guys that, dogging you and whatnot, write their name down. And so that's what I did. And as I got better, I started scratching in there. And that was my impetus of getting better and doing better and playing the game.
Well, that brings, for me, before a game would start, I would, make up reasons to be upset at someone on the other team. If they got drafted before me or anything, any little thing just to give yourself an edge when you go out on the court. I mean, I did that every game. I'd make up something. It didn't matter who it was. I mean, he could have scored more points than me last time I played him. Any little edge you can give yourself on, when you're going out before a game. I did that every game.
Who did you base your game on? Who were some of the people that you liked to play as you were growing up?
Well, I obviously grew up loving Michael. I mean, we
So
played.
that's where you got that from, because that's the kind of shit he did.
Yeah, well, hey, I mean, how could you not be a Jordan fan?
Got a camera right.
That's the kind of stuff he did.
Well, I mean, that's what you have to do. The NBA is so competitive. I mean, it's only 300 guys that are able to do this a year. So, I mean, so you have to do something. Well, for me at least, I mean, I had to do something to give myself that edge. I wasn't a high draft pick, even though I got drafted in the first round. There were 23 other guys that went before me. So, and a bunch of them were two guards, Jimmy Jackson and whatnot. So I had to, every time I played those guys, I'm just like, yeah, you got drafted before me. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm coming at you.
But did you steal something? I mean, as you were growing up, watching somebody on television that you tried to be like?
Well, I mean, obviously you're playing on the court and you're doing, the up and under like Mike, and you're doing some of the moves, the fade away, and you're working on some of those things. But for me, I started late too. I didn't really play organized basketball until my senior year, so I had to go the junior college route. And I was playing with my back to the basket as a big man. So when I transferred to Alabama, I mean, I'm trying to post up 6'9" guys, and they're like, yeah, right, get that out of here. So I'm like, dude, that whole summer I had to just really buckle down and start facing the basket and learn how to play on the perimeter. So it took me some time to adjust to that, but it was a lot of hard work and a lot of nights in the gym just getting up shots because I really got a late start.
Bernard, who'd you emulate?
My favorite player on the Knicks was Dave DeBusschere, because, hey, give it up for Dave. I loved rebounding more than scoring, and so he was my favorite player. But my responsibility on the Knicks roster was to score points. That was my job, and I had a system for scoring, and I was not creative like Spree or even Earl. And so I had an analytical approach to the game. I had 9 spots on the left, 9 spots on the right, 4 spots from the front of the rim to the top of the key, constituting 22 spots. And that's where I wanted to get my shots every single night. And so when I see the court, I don't see the baseline, I don't see the foul line, I don't see the top of the key. That's what you may see. But what I see is a grid. And that was my grid. And my game was built within that grid pattern. And that's how I scored my points, is based on those 9 spots on each side of the floor, and there's 4 spots there. And then there's only 5 ways you can be defended. If you're on the left wing, only 5. Send me right, send me left, play me tight, give me the jump shot, or overplay me. That's the only 5 ways you can defend me. And so I have 5 counters to the 5 different ways you're going to defend me. All right? And then I'm going to go to one of my 9 spots, and you're not going to stop me.
Man, where were you at when I played? I needed that mathematical equation.
That was my game every single night, and that's how I played the game. And you're not going to stop me.
That's
period.
incredible. That is incredible. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, John, who'd you look up to? Who'd you base your game on?
I ain't base my game off no one.
Just you?
Just me, man. I just had to go out there and just do what I do, you know?
Never in the playground saying, hey, man, I'm Earl Monroe today.
No.
Or I am.
No.
Never?
To be honest with you, every time I played in the playground, I'm out there by myself. I just play against Dr. J every single night.
Oh, okay.
And who you think won? Doc, I hope you're not listening. No, but I didn't really base myself off. All I did is looked at some of the greatest shooters that ever played the game. Obviously Earl, Paul Westphal,
yes.
Guys like that. And just kind of like, you know what, I had to, develop an outside shot. And that's what I worked on the most. Driving and dunking, that just came as I got stronger and able to jump. But as far as just shooting the basketball, and when I looked at the game, I wanted to be a point guard. So Magic was the guy who I looked up to, as far as a point guard. And that's how I broke in. Most people think I broke into this league as a 2-guard. I actually broke into this league as a point guard. And so my mentality was to think like Magic, the disc and all of that. But they didn't realize that I can jump. So they like, and they didn't realize.
Pass the ball. You pass the ball.
Yeah, wait.
They say,
Go back and look at my stats.
point guard. You ever see him pass?
So wait.
I don't remember seeing you pass the ball too much.
I'm with Latrell on this one. You were a no passing point guard.
Hold up. I said I broke into this league as a point guard. I didn't stay as a point guard. They switched me to the 2 because they thought I was 6'5" and I was actually 6'2". That's what my trading card said. And the funny story about that, but I always talk about it. But when I was in junior college and I was running late for a game, and I came in putting my shoes on, pants, and what have you, then I looked at the sheet, and it said 6'5", 160 pounds. I'm like, 6'5", 160 pounds. I like, Coach, I said, y'all have to change this. I said, they got the pounds right, but the height is wrong. He said, shut up, you're going to thank me later. So, but that point on, they never measured my height. So they always listed me at 6'5". But I jumped like I was 6'5", right?
You jumped. You jumped. You could jump, period. Whatever height you were, you could have. We're going to take a minute here and take some questions from the audience. And here's one right there. Yes, sir.
Richard King, 30 years, proud subscriber.
Earl, you got your cap on.
Defense, and you touched a lot on teamwork. Thank you. Hi, guys. Richard King, 30-year subscriber. You guys touched on defense and teamwork, and I was wondering what you thought about the lost art of boxing out. We had Anthony Mason, you mentioned, John, and, of course, Spree, and Oakley diving into the stands. So I was wondering what you guys thought about that.
Well, the game is different now. It's an outside game. Every shot is coming up, so it's hard to block guys out that's running to the basket. It's not like when we played where it was an inside game, and so the ball, pretty much go up, and you had to block out. Now you have to, shot go up, you turn your head to look. You got guys that's running. You're not even taught to, turn and hit your guy. So the game is totally different.
Yeah, and there's a saying in basketball. It's like a long shot, long rebound.
Yes.
And it's a lot of three-point shots in the game now. So it's really hard to get your body on the guy. And when everybody's sitting out on three-point line, you're waiting for a three-point shot, and then, a shot goes up, it's a long rebound. You really not. It's hard to really judge where the ball's going to go.
Next question. One more. Oh, okay. All right.
Hi.
We have 2 more questions. One there and one there.
Okay.
Oh, wait. And one there. Come on. Wait, let me get my man right here. Go ahead. What?
Okay. Mr. Starks, what was it like dunking on Jordan?
Why are you looking at me? Why is he looking at me? Because I'm going to tell him what you said.
Let me be politically correct. No, that was a special play. You know, I talk about this all the time, and Spree know this, and Earl and Bernard. You're going to see things in the game that you can use at the end of the game. You may not use it, you know, in the first, second, third quarter, but at the fourth quarter and game coming, what I saw was B.J. Armstrong cheating the play. And what I mean by cheating the play, Patrick, whenever Patrick come over and set a pick for me, and I cut my eyes, he knew the pick was coming. So he would jump to my high side. Bill Cartwright or whoever was guarding Patrick would wait on the baseline to trap me. That particular play, if you watch it, I'm slow dragging them down the court, right? And when I get in position, I saw Bill Cartwright wasn't in position, but BJ had his back to me. He thought he was in position. As soon as I cut my eyes, he did exactly what I thought he was going to do. He jumped to my high side. All I did is took off baseline, and all I saw was Horace Grant. 6'8", how is it, 6'8", 6'10"?
Yeah, 6'10".
About 260, 270. And I knew I had to go in strong. And bam, I completed the play, run up the court, because Chicago like to push you, celebrating. Teammates congratulate me. I'm sitting down looking up, trying to catch a glimpse. Couldn't catch a glimpse. It wasn't until the next day when I saw who was on the back end of that. And I was like, gotcha, because you don't get them.
Hey, and so we were all playing golf a little time after that, and John reminded Michael of dunking on him. You remember that? Right over here.
Your favorite Knicks moment or memory that you do not get asked about?
Well, actually, we had a comeback against the Milwaukee Bucks, and it was my second year, maybe. Yeah, my second year with the Knicks, and we came back from 19 points down with about 2 or 3 minutes to go. That was probably one of the most defining moments for me as a Knick, because it kind of, you know, before then I was kind of waffling, you know, being a Knick and not being a Knick or whatever the case may be. But that game itself solidified, you know, my existence as a Knick. And, you know, I think of that time, you know, quite fondly. And we pulled it off, and it was the beginning of our championship season. So it was a great thing.
Hey, I would just now like to thank all of you guys for coming. Really, thank you for being here. And our friends at Chase for presenting this event. I want you to enjoy the game tonight, and don't forget to go New York, go New York, go. There you go. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, great job.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, man. All right.